Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Again, today I just want to uh, reiterate the basis concept of single crown restoration from implant restoration. How do you go about to take impression and what type of stuff you're supposed to send to the lab so the lab can give you back, right, something like this. So I'm going to go back to backward to explain to you how I get to this stage right now. You're looking at the lab returning me the cast upper and lower arch and the crown, the implant crown, and also the right inside here is called the implant analog, and right here is called the crown screw retainer crown, implant crown, which means that all you have to do is you place in this implant crown into the patient mouth and screw in, and you put a little composite on top. You are done. That's all you have to do. You don't need any cement. From the implant restoration point of view, you first thing you have to do is you need to give to the lab what they need. So in this particular video, I want to go detail. In this case, this is the impression the lower impression of tube number 31, and inside this impression is the little gold part there is called the impression coupling. So this impression coupling is the thing that you would put inside a patient mouth when you take the impression at the implant level. This is what I mean by the implant level. You can see that I took out the Huynh abutment, and this is how you look at the implant level right there. So this is the an example of the single crown restoration. I will just go ahead and take it out so you can see it. Now this is the implant called the Nobel Biocare Conical connection regular platform parallel system. So it's gold color. Usually it's indicated that it's 4.3 diameter implant site. So here we go. Imagine this is the imagine that inside the patient mouth, when you take out the Huynh abutment, you would see a little tiny little, you would see the implant inside the patient mouth, supposed to look nice and shiny like this. So imagine this is the natural teeth, and you take out the Huynh abutment, you will see this. So what you do next would be you put this one right here. This is the impression coupling you put inside, and you make sure you give it a twist, and you hear a click, and that should be indicate that the implant and the impression coupling have contact to the maximum level, and you have to tie this with hand tie to very tight. After you hand tie this, you would inside this, imagine this is inside the patient mouth. Then you would take the impression. Before you take impression, you would take an X-ray and make sure that the junction between the implant and the impression coupling have no gap, which indicate that your impression coupling placing correctly, and this way it indicates that you can be predictably receive the correct crown. If you this step is really important. If you take you put in here and you take an X-ray and you see a gap, you should release it and retie it to make sure that there's no gap before you take impression in this state. Very important state that a lot of new dentists who start the implant restoration, and they mess it up right here. Okay, so this right here is called the impression coupling closed tray technique. As you can see, there is no punch hole outside here. It's closed tray, mean that there's no hole. I just put in directly into the patient mouth. after I pour the polyvinyl heavy material, put in here and take impression, wait for 5 minutes and take it out, and you would see something like this. When you see something like this, indicate that it looked fairly good. Then you would take this this part here. Imagine this is inside the patient now. You take this out, and you would take one of the analog. The implant analog is basically a copy of the implant that inside the patient mouth. You take this implant analog and you would attach to this one, and then you would put in here together with the implant analog and the impression coping together, and the lab will pour the model and we'll get to this state. So I want you to understand clearly. Once you put the implant analog, which it look like this, inside the impression coping, and the lab will pour it and they will make the model like that. And then the next step is the upper art impression. You have to get some impression like this, so the lab can pour the model like this. In this case, they chip some of the tube here, but it doesn't matter because that's not where the lab needed. It's just right here where the lab is needed. So again, really quick video so you have some idea what is the screw retainer implant look like, which is this is the screw retainer implant look like, screw retainer implant crown look like, and the couple tutorial about the impression coping and the implant analog, which is under the cast here. And so again, this is the what do you call this? Screw retainer implant crown, which basically crown on top with the abutment attached together, and the lab already done this for us. All you have to do is put inside the patient. All you have to do is put the implant inside the implant level after you take out the Huynh abutment, and you would place this in, and you need to hand tie, and then use the wrench tool tighten this screw up to around 30 Newton centimeter, depend on each implant system. And then you would place a piece of Teflon inside the occlusal area where the screw is, and after you place enough, you would use the scissor and cut it, and place the rest of them inside. Make sure you condense inside, and then use composite place inside the hole that you have, like cured a couple of times of incremental composite placement. Finish with on top with some bonding on top, and once you finish it, you will check the bite, adjust a few times, and you're gonna be done. And thank you for watching.